This game's announcer doesn't shout Metal Slug at the top of his lungs, so this is the worst one confirmed.
He just says super grenade.
So yes, hello, welcome
he
back
doesn't
to
even
the
say
world of Metal Slug with Metal Slug 3. This is a fan favorite. I can understand why, because this one, the craziness factor goes exponentially through the series from what I've seen. So the first one's pretty standard, and then it gets a little crazy, and then Metal Slug 3 is just off the chart. So, yeah.
Theo looks drunk. This is probably what Theo sees when she's drunk.
Yeah, giant enemy crabs. Yeah, probably. So,
There's
yes.
a joke associated with that, but I'm not going to make it.
Oh, okay. Also, the not enemy crabs give you points, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, just so you guys know, this game, one of the big changes between Metal Slug 2/X and 3 is the introduction of multiple pathways. So there's several.
Oh, so it's Castlevania 3.
Basically, yeah. There are several points in the first handful of levels, like right here, where you can either choose to go in the submarine or go up above. So for this playthrough, I played through it a couple of different times so that we can see all the different random pathways, because if you don't, you're skipping like half of the first 4 levels. So,
Yeah.
you're welcome, basically.
Arcade games do that multiple pathway thing quite a bit. I think Golden Axe was well known for it, and I know that the Dungeons and Dragons,
yep.
yeah, the Mystara games they do that quite a bit. There's
So
one
not only
particularly.
will you throw your quarters at the machine just to beat it once, you'll do it to beat the game several times so that you can see the slightly different fight that you're about to do.
A slightly different fight? Oh no. Here's the thing. At one point in the first Dungeons and Dragons arcade game, whichever of the Mystara games that was, there's a
I had Tarma do that.
there's a red dragon on a mountain, and you're told the red dragon is there, and basically the game tells you this red dragon will kick your ass if you try to fight it. Don't try to fight it, and you're given the option to try to fight it. It's basically a quarter trap. That
What do you
dragon,
get if you win?
There's a massive treasure drop, I think, that's really, really helpful, but it's also a really brokenly difficult boss fight. Here's the kicker. The dragon is reused in the second arcade game as the final boss.
Ooh, okay.
Red dragons in Dungeons and Dragons are not to be trifled
Also,
with.
Ted, your metabolism fucking sucks.
I think actually the red dragon in the actual Dungeons and Dragons like tabletop game, I think that's actually the weakest variety of dragon.
Yeah, but you still don't want to fuck with dragons in Dungeons.
Oh no,
Dragons.
no, dragons are not to be trifled with. I know that chromatic dragons like red or red, blue, green are evil, and metallic ones are generally good. So like gold dragon or whatever. I don't remember which is the strongest of which.
It also
version, though.
it also depends on what campaign setting you're talking about. So,
yeah, that's true.
there's quite a few prefab campaign settings, and well, a lot of DMs just make up their own.
Yeah.
Or at least a small chunk of one, because who has time to actually build a world at Greenwood? How did you do that?
Yeah. Yeah, most of the time if people are, from what I know, who DM, they're not making up the entire world, they're just making it up as they go along. Basically.
I think there's other famous properties that are basically Dungeons and Dragons settings too. I think like the Elder Scrolls was originally like just the designer's D&D campaign setting. So, and they sort of made a game out of it on PC, and the rest is history.
God damn it.
The
I know I
pathway
should've
is
made
here, under the floorboards. Rolls an at 3d20. There it is.
I know I said this like 10 times already, but I fucking love the sprite quality.
Dude, did you see how well animated Tarma's snot bubble was when he's doing his
Also, I also didn't realize we were playing Metal Slug XL.
We kind of started this commentary directly after Shantae Half Genie Hero, and I'm glad we did it after, because I don't think I would have been able to look at Half Genie Hero quite as favorably coming at it out of this.
I love this sprite quality, but part of me's killing to see them bring this series back with like a Rayman Origins Legends style.
Rayman Origins kind of style. Yeah, it could work. I mean, it would have to be a whole lot more fair.
Like looking like it's straight out of a cartoon. You know, like I think that's the natural. I mean, granted, I would love them to do a sprite-based Metal Slug too, but I feel like that's the natural evolution of this style that they're kind of going for, and I would love to see it.
Is that a chimp with a machine
Yes,
gun?
it is a chimp with a machine gun. It's freaking Metal Slug.
I honestly doubt we'll ever see it because it seems like SNK is just generally moving away from sprites.
That's a shame because that's like the biggest thing they were known for.
The closest thing we're probably going to see is, what was it, King of Fighters 13, I think. Is that the one?
It's just a price thing at this point.
Yeah, because actually Ryan mentioned this in the Half Genie Hero playthrough, but sprites are harder to make than 3D models. So yeah.
Well, the other issue is that 3D models are inherently reusable infinitely.
Well, you say that, but this is Metal Slug we're talking about, and they were reusing sprites from Metal Slug 1 through, 7.
No, but you can reuse a model for a number of different purposes, not just
Yeah, like
reusing it.
every time you want to make a new animation, you have to make a new frame for it, whereas a 3D
a
model
model you already have the base for. It's just manipulating that model.
Yeah, and that's the main thing that makes it generally cheaper, is that it's less time consuming in the end.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's like technically it takes just as much work to make the look and have the textures and stuff, but you can reuse that model for a number of different
and nowadays
things.
we can have stuff like physics engines handling the stuff that we would take a lot of work to make sprites look great. I mean, there's a hell of a lot of animation quality going into these sprites, but Final Fantasy 15 has a physics engine for the clothing that makes it move, you know?
Yeah, animating hair in sprite form is probably the biggest pain in the ass to make it look.
That's why Mario has a hat, because Miyamoto didn't want to deal with that shit.
Hair is a pain in the ass no matter what medium you're animating in.
Oh yeah, because it'll clip through crap no matter what.
Yeah, but nowadays we do at least have NVIDIA Hairworks and stuff to help ease that stuff. The hair in Final Fantasy 15 and The Witcher 3, in both cases, is one of the most beautiful things I've ever laid my eyes on when it's in motion. The Witcher 3 especially.
You see, that actually reminds me of, it's not a video game, but Brave, the Pixar movie. They basically just made that because Pixar probably came up with some tech to make hair look fancy and they wanted to show off.
Yeah, but not enough animation skeletons to do more than one body type for the female characters.
Well, that's why Sully is completely hairy in Monsters Inc. It's because we had this new way to do hair. We wanted to show it off.
Yeah, basically.
So let's make a monster that's nothing but hair.
Basically, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, so, but basically the point is that I think that 3D technology was only more expensive in the late 90s and early 2000s because it was new and probably required software and development resources that most people didn't have.
Everyone had their own in-house engines for stuff back then. Nowadays, there's a prefab engine, and then there's another prefab engine that's competing with it. You only ever hear about Unreal and Unity anymore.
Well,
and then
Epic,
the odd duck like Capcom, who has their own RE engine. You know?
Yeah. So it takes less resources not less resources, but now that there's a framework in place for it, it doesn't need the super duper specialized stuff anymore, so it's cheaper. No, basically.
Yeah.
It's kind of like... actually, I don't know what it's kind of like, because my analogy completely got lost on me there. Look at how well animated Fio's hair was when it popped out of her helmet. That probably took a guy a week to make, you know? Also, I'm surprised that they have apples driving their submarines.
One of my favorite odd things to do when I'm just... is he going blue from lack of air? And why is he
but he
flapping
won't
through
ever
water?
die. He won't ever die.
Anyway, one of my favorite odd things to do while surfing the internet is look up those websites that showcase sprites from old Sprite games. Well, I say old Sprite games, but more like Super Nintendo and beyond sprites, where you can look frame by frame and see the massive amounts of detail going into it.
Or you can copy and paste the entire thing into Microsoft Paint and then recolor all of it green, and then it's your new original character. Do not steal.
That's also something you can do. But you know,
Spriter's resource, was it?
something like that. There's a lot of sprites from a lot of old games like Streets of Rage and stuff that you don't really appreciate the amount of animation detail until you've really looked at it.
Yeah.
And you know, one of the cruder things that I notice in a lot of older games is body motion, particularly hair, breasts, and clothes. And when you think about it, a lot of it is you know, a lot of it is necessary to make the sprite look natural, because the more little things that are moving with every frame of animation, the more alive the character looks. For example, right now we're seeing the character flop around as a zombie, and if you actually tried to slow this down and count every body part that's moving in every animation that plays out here, you'd probably lose track, because it's, I think, literally every pixel of the goddamn character that's moving.
Yeah, it is every unique frame of animation, which in this game is a shitload.
So, okay, I'm gonna have an unpopular opinion here. Fuck the zombie level. I hate this one. Okay, I mean, it's very impressive to see all the different animation on the zombies, and yeah, spurting blood like that's cool and whatever. But every zombie takes like 15 bullets to kill. And that's probably my biggest issue with Metal Slug 3, is everything feels like a bullet sponge in this one.
That's kind of a zombie thing, is that they are bullet sponges.
Yeah, but it doesn't make it fun.
I know it doesn't make it fun. It's just a common characteristic of zombies that they probably tried to work into the level's gameplay. And
They had to give them some kind. You have to give zombies some kind of strength, because otherwise, if they're just slow and shuffling, they're way too easy to kill.
The idea is that zombies don't feel pain, so they don't go down as easy from gunfire.
So what are the benefits of zombies?
So, as a zombie, you actually can't be killed by anything but other zombies. So that's cool. And also your bomb becomes the blood vomit thing, which is very, very good. If you can keep zombie all the way to the boss, you actually can kill the boss really, really quickly. But you also have to not die, and you move really slow as shit. And you don't get any other special weapons.
You gotta watch out for those zombies, because they have projectiles too.
Yeah, they like spurt gross crap at you.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can do because you move so slow.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I generally just think it's more fun to play the game normally, is the thing, because Metal Slug is all about jumping and dodging bullets and shooting, and you kind of lose that when you can only shuffle and maybe get a foot off the ground when you jump, you know?
Yeah. The mummy mode in the second game was kind of similar, wasn't it?
Thriller!
On the other hand, having a slow invincible just powerhouse mode is kind of cool anyway.
Oh,
so,
well, that's kind of the appeal of a mode like in Hyrule Warriors, like the Ganon mode. Like, that's sort of the appeal, is that, oh, you're big and strong and you can kill lots of enemies in one swipe or whatever. Although that mode's problem is that you don't actually feel that strong until you level up to like level 100.
Here's my question: how does a spurt of blood blow up tanks?
It's zombie blood.
It's highly pressurized.
It's acidic
I do like
blood.
that
It ruptures the fuel tank and boom.
I still like that. I like that you still get your gun though. Zombies with guns has always been one of those things that.
What are we, Resident Evil 5?
Yeah, one of those things that people criticize as being stupid, but in this context, it really works.
Well, Metal Slug is already kind of stupid, which is part of the charm, you know? Like, yeah, okay. Like, that's like, okay, yeah. It's Metal Slug, it makes sense. I mean, realistically speaking, a zombie would not be able to pull a trigger because it would take far too much tension to do so, and it would probably just break the zombie's knuckle if it tried to do that, if it could put that much pressure in the first place, you know?
It depends on the state to which the body is decomposed, I suppose.
Yeah, well, most zombies in fiction are, like, already, like, rotting and, like, half the face is melted off or whatever, you know? So
yeah, it depends on where the zombie comes from. Like if it's from the grave, sure. Resident Evil kind of zombies were usually alive not too long ago. You know.
Excuse me, I'm John Smith. John Smith of 1882. My mistake.
Well, I mean, in Metal Slug, when you become a zombie, like, you died, like, literally a second ago, but you're already rotting. So it's kind of in a weird middle.
Anyway. You also
the enemies are rotting, and they kind of establish that they just died. So
you sort of open up your body and spew a line of explosive blood, and then close up again. So I think all logic is forfeit at that point.
You mean you can't do that?
Well, I mean, we don't know if we can't. We just haven't tried yet.
The concept of a Resident Evil bioweapon with guns, I think, actually predates even Resident Evil 3, though. Because in one of the novels, what is it, Caliban Cove? It's not a very good novel. There's this thing called a Tri-Squad, and it's sort of a zombie, but not really. But they come in threes, and they have, like, machine guns, and at least I think it was machine guns. It's been a while since I bothered to read that one. Ow, that hurt. I mean, I imagine
also,
giant gravestone dropped on your head would
hurt.
hurt.
I was gonna say, why is this thing throwing monoliths at you?
Yeah, I like how the boss is literally the beginning of 2001: A Space Odyssey.
So the aliens were the cause of the zombies.
I guess it's not really ever explained. Like, they're just kind of here. They don't even really have anything to... Most of the supernatural stuff in this game doesn't even really have anything to do with the overall plot. It's just like, oh, zombies just happened to be here and you ran into them. You should probably kill them before they kill you.
I guess people got a kick out of the mummy thing in the second game and they wanted to do that again.
Yeah, but that's honestly exactly what it is. Because, and I mean, it works in terms of visual variety. I love all the different wacky stuff you can do in Metal Slug 3. And in Metal Slug 3, like, there's all sorts of different wacky crap you run into. And
Ice, man!
Yeah.
I'm just glad that he's in there and we're out here, but where's the caveman?
Oh, I thought you were going to go for Mega Man reference there.
No, I was making a YouTube poop joke.
Oh, okay.
Because it's a very popular one.
A YouTube poop joke? Man, who remembers YouTube poops?
So why take the ice? Why take
honestly,
the
just for points. That's literally the only... Because you don't really end up all that... I think you pop out right at the cave. And you're really likely to die in here because it's one of the harder parts of the level. Although, when you get hit by icicles, you get turned into a snowman, which is pretty cool. Yeah. But yeah, you just do it for points. That's the only reason.
Do you want to be a snowman?
Yeah, so the only reason you go in here is if you really want the Yetis to go extinct, because you'll just see later in the level. So yeah, but I mean, I guess you go in here if you want to play more Metal Slug. That's another reason. Like, you put a quarter into the machine to play, you might as well make the levels as long as possible, right?
I guess if you find the zombies frustrating, you've got this alternate pathway with Sasquatches instead.
I'm trying to make sense of the weird death animation of the Yetis.
Well, I mean, this part of the level is actually, I think, harder than even because they take as much punishment as the zombies do in terms of bullets, but there's more of them. You also have to do this Toho dodging crap with the with the snowballs and whatnot, and maybe you're not given a lot of ammo.
Maybe the Yetis dissolving into smoke when they die is the game's explanation for why we can't find evidence of them. Because whenever someone successfully takes one down, it evaporates.
It's like evaporates. It gets distorted. It's a hell and back.
Maybe the camera footage of them also gets distorted as well.
That is what I call an inconvenient truth.
Maybe their planet needs them or something.
They're off to hang with Man, Bear, Pig.
Oh yeah, and we also got to ride an elephant.
What?
Ah, the war elephants.
If you're gonna have an elephant to ride that's frozen in a glacier thing, why not make it a woolly mammoth? Why not go the distance?
What's happening?
Oh, the zombies came in.
Did you just eat a battery?
Metal Slug.
That's not how that would work.
Yeah.
War elephants.
Yeah, so by opening this path, you just let the zombies come in, and you made the Yetis extinct. Good job, asshole. I mean, they were trying to kill you, so that's something, but... Yeah, so you walk in, you find the elephant, and you decide to walk back. So this pathway, in terms of, like, plot, is actually a waste of time.
Oh, I see. So you go in, you kill the Yetis, and then you go right back out the way you came, and it doesn't actually do anything else.
Yeah, but there's zombies on the way back, so... Yeah, you really are just doing it for extra
dead
points.
Yetis in the background.
Ugh.
Gross.
Go back and get the war elephant.
No, the left side of the screen doesn't exist. You see, I understand why it's there in an arcade game. Because, you know, they don't want people backtracking if it's not a part of the gameplay, just to keep the pace moving forward. And I suppose I understand why it's there in a game like the original Super Mario Brothers, because the tech for probably making the screen scroll back might have been difficult. But I don't know why it's an optional thing in, like, for example, New Super Mario Brothers. You can turn on a mode where the screen locks, like in the original, where I'm like, okay, that's a weird-ass thing to call back to, but whatever. Yeah, so I said at this point, I hate fighting these things. I'm done.
Yeah.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
Yeah, so now you're back on the main path at this point, so... The level finishes as normal at then, so I'm not going to show you a boss that you've already seen. What was that? What was with the her?